Am I the idiot for telling my sister her baggage isn't my issue? I, female 28, am a single mom of 3 kids. I met my daughter when I was 22 volunteering in a mentor program. Her bio mom asked that I take her in for a while when she was having a hard time, so I agreed to become her foster parent. Then 2 years ago we got the paperwork together for me to become her official guardian. I plan to adopt when kiddo is old enough to tell me that's what she wants. Last year I got a phone call from my daughter's caseworker, informing me that her bio mom had another child and she wanted him to be placed with his sister, so I took him in too. I didn't plan on having any other children, but I met someone, it didn't last, and long story short is that I have a first grader, a toddler, and I'm 25 weeks. My sister Bree, female 34, always loved hanging with my kids whenever she had the spare time. She's been struggling with infertility since she and her husband started trying for a baby 8 years ago, and I can tell how badly she wants to be a mom. I really do hope that someday it does happen for her, because it's all she's ever wanted. Since I announced my pregnancy though, Bree has been kind of distant. I thought that maybe it was just life stuff or I was being overly emotional due to hormones, so I didn't really press her on it or anything and went about things as usual. Our mom invited us all to dinner the other night, so I got my kiddos settled with a sitter and drove to my mom's place. Dinner went mostly fine, but Bree kept giving me looks every time someone brought up the pregnancy, and towards the end of the night she asked why I even adopted 2 children if I clearly had no trouble making a baby of my own. I told her that when I started fostering my oldest, it was just to give her a safe place to live until her mom could get things sorted. Unfortunately that didn't happen, and now her brother is with me too. I love my children and I'm happy to be their mom, but it wasn't my intention in the beginning to adopt via foster care. I wanted their bio mom to work things out, and my heart genuinely hurts for her because she wasn't able to do that. Bree then said that it feels like I'm rubbing my kids in her face. She told me that it isn't fair that I basically had 2 kids fall into my lap, and then decided to be reckless and get knocked up too. All while she's been trying for years to have a child with no luck. She said it's cruel and unfair that I took 2 babies from the system that could have gone to parents who deserve them, all while being able to easily have one on my own. I ended up telling her that while it sucks, it's not my fault that some people want kids and can have them, and that her infertility baggage isn't really my issue. Our mother asked me to leave and the next day called me to tell me that I was being unnecessarily cruel to my sister when I know what she's been going through. Now I don't know if what I said was out of line. Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. Your sister is being jealous and petty and it's misdirected. You don't have to deal with it, and what you said was right. Congrats on your 3 children. You sound like a great mother. Comment 2. Not the idiot. If she really cared about children in foster care, she would become a foster parent herself. This is purely about her. What are you supposed to do? Stop making fertility choices just because it makes her feel bad. Now for the update. Hi, I know it's only been a few days since I last posted, but something's happened and I've decided to rinse my hands of the situation, so I thought I'd provide you all with an update. First though, I do want to thank you for your feedback. It was nice to be reassured that I wasn't being overly mean, as that's what I was mainly worried about. I do really love my sister and I don't ever want to cause her to hurt, even when we are fighting. So my mom was supposed to go to my anatomy scan with me yesterday, but she called me and told me that because Bree is still upset to the point of not speaking to me, she didn't want to make it any worse by going to the appointment. I took my toddler with me instead, and he was great company. The nurses absolutely loved having him there, and it was easier not to think about the fact that my mom ditched me when I had him to focus on. Mom did text me later wanting to know if the baby was a boy or a girl and if everything went alright, but I still haven't texted her back because I feel like I just end up getting even more hurt about the situation. I don't think I'm going to try anymore with either of them. I wanted to in the beginning because I think Bree just needs to talk to a therapist and sort her feelings out, but our mom deciding to skip out on this appointment with me just kinda sealed the deal. I sent Bree's husband a message, since Bree has blocked me, telling them both that I hope things work out for them in all the ways they deserve, and that I am genuinely sorry if I hurt her. I recommended talking to a therapist or support group of some kind, and said that when Bree has worked through all of the things she still needs to work through, she's more than welcome to call me. My dad found out about the argument, and he's offered to come drive down with his wife to stay with me when the baby gets here, since the plan was originally for my mom to do it instead. I told him I'd let him know once it gets closer to the actual date, but I think that's probably what's going to end up happening. I'm not gonna focus too much on Bree and my mom right now. My kiddos are my priority, and I think what's best is to keep them away from the drama, so I don't plan on allowing Bree or my mom around for a while. Thank you guys again so much for all of your responses, as it was really helpful to have outside perspectives on the situation. It definitely helped me figure out a few things for myself. Edit. Baby number 3 is a little boy. You all are so sweet for asking. Edit. Point 2. Some people have been asking, so I wanted to clarify a few things. My kid's bio mom and I had initially agreed upon me caring for the oldest without any outside court involvement, just an agreement between the two of us. 2 years after that initial agreement, I was 24, and it was clear that my daughter would be staying with me for much longer than originally intended, so then bio mom and I did mutually decide on court involvement to make this situation official. Neither of the kids were infants when I was granted custody of them. My toddler hung out with the nurses at the front of the clinic while I was in the actual appointment. LOL. He was too little to be allowed back. Comment 1. I feel like your mom is making excuses for your sister's bad behavior and, in the process, is reinforcing said behavior. I think you made the best call you can for yourself and children. Just be sure to set good boundaries and be ready to reinforce them, because once the dust settles, someone may attempt to test them. And not the idiot this time or last. Comment 2. You're the idiot. Honestly, I can't believe the audacity you have. Adoption isn't just a game where you can hoard children like some sort of family-themed Pokemon trainer. You adopted not 1 but 2 children, seemingly on a whim, from a mother who was just having a hard time. Who are you to determine she couldn't work things out? Moreover, you then recklessly bring a 3rd child into this world with a man who is not even around anymore. These children deserve stability and a nuclear family environment, not just being part of some patchwork family experiment. And just because you can get pregnant, doesn't mean you should. Your sister's pain is real. She has a right to feel hurt that you're playing house with 3 children while she's unable to have even 1. It's a cruel world where people like you get to just acquire kids left and right without a thought, while others are left empty-handed. You should have considered her feelings before adding to your collection. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Do not reply to your mom. Let her sit and wonder. When she asks again, reply. If you really wanted to know, you would have shown up. And block her for a while. I'm glad you have your dad for help. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for refusing to stop visiting my daughter over her sister? I, female 56, and my husband Kurt, male 59, have 2 daughters, Ruth 32 and June 30th. 8 years ago, Ruth split up with her college boyfriend, Adam 32. They'd been together since she was 21, and it was as serious as a college relationship could be. About 5 years ago, June announced that she reconnected with Adam at some alumni get-together. They'd all gone to the same university, and that they were now dating. Of course, Kurt and I were shocked she would do this despite her sister's history with him. But she insisted that they were in love and she can't help that, and that Ruth and Adam hadn't been together in years, so she hasn't done anything wrong. Ruth, understandably, was enraged over it. She said she was done with June and would never see her again. This broke me. They were so close growing up and I prayed every day they'd reconcile. But I accepted they're adults who can make their own choices and we have no say. Kurt and I were also very disappointed with June and told her off many times. But after she proved that there was never any cheating involved while Ruth and Adam were together, things between us settled down. Out of respect for Ruth's feelings, we never brought the girls together again. Ruth and June visit us separately and still aren't on speaking terms after 5 years, but we maintained our relationships. Now June and Adam are married. Ruth has also moved on with a lovely boy. Coincidentally, both girls are expecting their first child. Ruth's due date is a little earlier. I can't put into words how excited we are to be grandparents and adore both these children. I've been supportive and as involved with both our daughters' pregnancies as they want. However, last week Ruth dropped a bomb on us. She said that if we ever see June again or her baby, she won't allow us in her child's life. This shattered me. It keeps me up every night. The thought of either of my grandchildren being deprived of loving grandparents is agonizing. I know Ruth was deeply hurt by June's actions, but I don't know if we should be punished just for not cutting our kid off. How can any parent even consider disowning a child? We begged her to reconsider and said our love for them both isn't conditional, and we can't just stop loving one, but she's adamant. I don't want to accept Ruth's terms, as it seems like no matter what we decide, we're going to lose a daughter and grandchild. So I'd rather it not happen because we outright chose it. But I also don't want Ruth to believe we just drop her in favor of June, because again, the thought crushes me. Would I be the idiot if I don't comply with Ruth's ultimatum? ETA, thank you to everyone for commiserating with this situation. I wish I could say it's helped me feel better, but right now it feels like nothing ever will. One of my babies hates the other. It broke me, but I accepted it. Now I'm faced with losing one of them no matter what. Entirely too many comments to respond to individually, so I just want to answer some of the most common questions here. Why did Ruth and Adam split up? Ruth left Adam because it just wasn't working. He was immature and said and did things that irritated her, mostly lots of minor things adding up. She said there was never any abuse nor cheating, but it was the right decision for herself. He was a nice enough boy, but he definitely had some growing up to do at the time. I did feel very badly for Ruth because she had invested a good few years into the relationship for someone so young, but agreed it was the right decision. Did we ever support Ruth? Ruth stayed with us for a few months when it first happened, not just because of this, there were other reasons, and we were there for her and comforted her the whole time. Because she was so angry, we had asked June to not visit until she left. We still talked to her and met a couple of times in public places. We made it known that this hurt her sister, and we were disappointed she didn't think of this. June understood and agreed with us supporting Ruth. She expressed sadness over losing her sister, but we clearly told her it was Ruth's decision to cut her off. Whether one thinks June did nothing wrong or not, it's untrue to say there were never any consequences for this. She's sad to this day that she's lost her sister, and knows she has to accept and live with it. Did June ever apologize to Ruth? Both girls have confirmed that June reached out a few times over the years to apologize. No one put her up to it. Ruth didn't forgive her, and she's well within her rights not to. We understand no one can or should make her accept the apology. Why don't we just cut off Adam? He's June's husband and the father of our second grandchild. They're a package deal now. Once we cut him off, we risk losing June and our grandchild anyway, which is the same as what I'm trying to prevent with Ruth. Some comments say that in letting June stay in our lives after this, I already chose her and asked why I didn't cut her off from the start. I'm baffled that anyone would suggest I could just disown a child so easily like she was never ours. Not disowning June doesn't mean I chose to be her mother over Ruth, as I never abandoned Ruth and never will. Ruth has thanked us for our support in the past. She said she was fine with how we'd arranged things for the last 5 years. As long as she never had to see June, she was happy seeing us and everything was normal between us. It's only now that she wants us to disown June. Some say she should have cut us off years ago for still loving June. She said many times her goal isn't to cut us off. She loves us and wants us to be involved with her child, but that she can't stand June or her baby getting the same love and care from us because she thinks she doesn't deserve it. I want to add that if Adam had ever abused or cheated on Ruth, we certainly would have gone no contact or at least Elsie with him. But that's not what happened, and both girls used to repeatedly tell us that what happened between them had nothing to do with us. So yes, I did keep my relationship with both daughters. I don't regret it because, as heartbreaking as this is, willingly cutting off either of them, outside of the circumstances I mentioned, is unfathomable to me or their father. Thank you again to everyone for their good wishes, and for suggesting family therapy. I will try and bring it up with Ruth and my husband. Comment 1. Not the idiot. She's just making a final bid for control and using the baby as leverage. What happened to Ruth sucks, but she shouldn't be trying to take out her feelings on you guys, who sound like loving parents. Tell her that you don't like the ultimatum and leave the door open should she change her mind. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Tell Ruth that you will never turn your back on any of your children and that she is making the choice to not be a part of your life. Let her know that your door is always open, and as much as it hurts, continue to send cards, Christmas and birthday presents to your grandchild. She will most likely come around, but even if she doesn't, you will know that you kept the lines of communication open while respecting her boundaries. Then the original poster responded with, I probably sound crazy, but thinking of this almost breaks my heart most of all. I know a few people who've been denied access to their grandkids who do this. The thought of sending gifts, cards, money, photos, etc. that will all end up in some dusty box in an attic somewhere that our grandchild may never see absolutely kills me. They'll never know how much we love them and yearn for them. I've wondered if Ruth would just throw everything away, and there wouldn't even be any proof that we sent them or cared at all. If she asks us to stop sending them, we'd have to comply. But even if we get to shower June's child with love, I can never not think of the fact that we can't do the same for Ruth's. Now for the update. Hello again. Thank you for all the support and advice on my first post. A lot's happened, so I think I should provide an update. We followed the advice and told Ruth that if she decided to go no contact, we would comply, but we could never willingly cut off either of them. We again begged her to reconsider and reiterated that we were willing to go do family therapy, that we would do all we could to keep her and June apart, anything to make it work. She said she still wasn't happy June and her baby would stay in our lives, but she would think about it. Kurt and I also looked into opening an account for Ruth's child, but didn't go through with it yet in hopes that things could turn around. Days went by, we didn't hear back from Ruth. It was agony. Then we get a call from June. She'd gotten wind of what was happening, through mutual family. She drove to Ruth's herself. No one put her up to this, She was prepared for Ruth to kick her out anyway. Once she was there, she apologized again and begged her not to do this. She said she could accept Ruth wanting nothing to do with her, but not to punish us because of it, especially since they both knew that cutting us off would cost her child-loving grandparents. Shockingly, Ruth didn't kick her out. She let her in and they both had a long tearful argument/fight. They even hugged a few times. I'm foggy on details, but I suspect pregnancy hormones played a huge role here. I can't tell you how panicked I was hearing this story, because it could have been so risky for them both, They haven't exactly made up, and Ruth didn't forgive June, but she admitted to her that her husband, Owen, has actually been trying to convince her to go to couples counseling and individual therapy as well. Apparently, since Ruth's pregnancy, some troubling qualities that he was able to deal with previously were exacerbated. She was becoming controlling and paranoid, and he was pleading with her to get help so they could be in a good place once the baby was born. June's visit was the final straw, and Ruth broke down and agreed. Ruth called us later. She corroborated June's story and accepted our therapy offer. She still has one condition. She wants Owen there if June has to attend any sessions, and she doesn't want Adam present at all. We all agreed. The first session is in a few days. I can barely keep it together that I'll see both my babies in the same room for the first time in forever. It's been so stressful, but I can finally see some light. I haven't lost my daughters. Kurt and I are going to put everything into keeping our family together. I'm not going to be naive and assume everything will be fine now, but I'm hopeful. I want to thank everyone again for all the comfort and help. To those who sent kind DMs sharing their similar situations, I truly appreciate your solidarity. As for those who sent DMs calling one or both of my daughters whores/sluts and hoping that they lose their unborn babies, I can only hope nothing abhorrent in your lives is driving you to be so miserable as to wish such heinous things on a stranger. Comment 1. I wasn't there for your original post, but I felt so bad when I went back and read it. I'm glad things seem to be going on a better path, and I hope everything gets in a more peaceful place for all involved, whatever happens. Wishing y'all much love and nothing but the best. Comment 2. Well, buckle up because I'm about to say what everyone else here seems to be too chicken to. You're the idiot. Clearly. Here's a wild idea. Maybe instead of adding fuel to the fire of your sister's pain, you could have been compassionate, understanding, and I don't know, empathetic. But no, you decided to toss her feelings aside like yesterday's trash and play the blame game. And then you have the audacity to be shocked when you're asked to leave? Please. Your sister has been battling with infertility, a soul-crushing struggle that you clearly can't begin to understand, and you respond to her emotional distress by saying her infertility baggage isn't your issue. It's your family, and family issues are your issues, whether you like it or not. Ever heard of the concept of being there for each other? Guess not. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.